Are you on Medicaid and in need of bladder control and incontinence products? Then stay tuned for a free offer from Active Style. At Active Style, we understand your needs and offer convenient delivery of incontinence products for children and adults. And they may be available at no cost to you if you're Medicaid eligible. Our products have a super absorbent core that locks away wetness to keep you dry.
If you're on Medicaid, call now for your free sample.
Broadcasting from Now Media Network's headquarters in Houston, this is Purple Politics, hosted by political expert and commentator Alina Gonzalez-Dockery. Join us to discuss the most important issues affecting our nation with fresh, balanced, and objective discussion on the first bilingual media network in the United States. Purple Politics starts right now.
Four days until Election Day. And with Halloween just being yesterday, I still can't help but think that this political season that we have been has been a lot of tricks on all of us. Garbage comments push sideline Biden back into the campaign spotlight. President Biden's recent remark, yes, he is still president, people, seemingly referring to Trump supporters as garbage, brought him back into the campaign spotlight, diverting attention from Vice President Kamala Harris's major rally in front of the White House just the other day. Biden clarified that his comment targeted comedian Tony Hinchcliffe, who made disparaging remarks about the island of Puerto Rico at a Trump rally in Madison Square Garden. However, the fallout was immediate, with Republicans drawing comparisons to Hillary Clinton's 2016 deplorables comment and some prominent figures like Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro condemning Biden's phrasing. In response to Biden's gaffe, Harris emphasized unity, distancing herself from any criticism of voters based on the political choices. However, when asked directly if she could sympathize with Trump supporters being insulted by, she ignored the question. But she did explain that Biden had clarified his remarks, but noted that the topic didn't come up during their conversation. The White House later clarified his intent, stating that he was condemning the rhetoric of a supporter, not all Trump backers, in an effort to address anti-Latino sentiments. Nonetheless, Biden's comment fueled discussions about his diminishing role in the campaign. And as this election is finally approaching, Biden has noticeably taken a backseat in Harris's campaign, a shift he finds emotionally challenging. Sources close to him reveal that Biden feels somewhat disappointed at not being in the campaign's limelight, but recognizes the necessity of stepping back. However, this isn't the first time he has done a gaffe. So just a few weeks ago, Harris, who is trying to distance herself as much as possible from the administration and such, even though impossible after being on The View and saying that she was just as much a partner and part of and agree with all decisions Biden's administration had done. Even when she was trying to distance herself, he brought her back in saying she was on board with all this. And then now I'm going to tell you, I have listened to that video, I don't know how many times, and he specifically says his supporters. And let's face it, Biden, who was supposed to be the president of unity, since the moment he got into office, he has disparaged and really mocked, disparaged, and says some really horrible things for the Trump supporters and those people who may not be a true Trump supporter, but are voting for him. And Harris isn't only just facing these challenges from Biden, I mean, we stated like The View, supporting Biden's policies have become a focal point for criticism, even as she seeks to reach independent voters. A group that has expressed disfavor toward Biden. A recent poll shows that 65% of independents view Biden unfavorably. And in fact, Harris's own approval ratings are in the toilet as well. And Biden's recent missteps have become talking points for critics, with his lock him up comment in New Hampshire sparking additional backlash. Though Trump and allies frequently use inflammatory language, honestly, I think it's like we've already become somewhat accustomed to it. But when you have Biden going out there and then saying like, hey, and basically Trump supporters are garbage. When you have like people who are traveling from other countries to attend these rallies, it's a stupid mistake and it's not a good look. But it's not the only person that is also causing somewhat headaches for the campaign, for Harris's campaign. You got former President Bill Clinton, who basically has stated in Indiana that yes, Trump's economy was better. The economy was much better under Trump's administration, but it's okay not to vote for him. That's not the reason to vote for him. It's okay to vote for Harris. Or saying that the immigrants need better vetting. I mean, so the Harris campaign keeps coming up against little challenges or major challenges, because if anybody has TikTok, X, or Instagram, you're going to see a lot of people dressing up in garbage bags. And speaking of garbage, I mean, this is a great topic. Who would have thought we would be talking about this during the presidential election? Trump rides garbage truck to hammer Biden as Harris scrambles to clean up. Former President Donald Trump made headlines by riding in a garbage truck before his rally in Green Bay, Wisconsin, using it as a symbolic jab at President Joe Biden. The stunt was a direct response to Biden's recent remarks, which some have interpreted as referring to Trump supporters as garbage. Trump, sitting in a truck labeled with his 2024 campaign logo and flags flying, used the moment to take aim at both Biden and Vice President Harris, framing the vehicle as a tribute to their administration. And as we discussed, this controversy began when Biden, during a virtual call with Latino voters, appeared to label Trump supporters as garbage while condemning their demonization of Latinos. A clip of Biden's comments quickly circulated, stirring outrage among Republicans. Quickly circulating is an understatement. It went viral. And shortly after, the White House, is doing the backstep and trying to massage what he really said, but way too late. Once that hit the airways, Trump jumped on it. And I have to say, it is a genius of his. This is a zone of genius. He's having fun. He's able to take certain things and turn it into a plus. So, garbage bags are going to be very in for fashion for the next couple of days. And it is certain, it really is amazing that this one statement seems to have shifted the focus from from the comedian at the Madison Square Garden rally for Trump, who, by the way, should never been hired. It's like the nuances are running the campaign event, whoever the event coordinator was. And though Harris has stated that she strongly disagreed with the disparaging of people based on political choices, her remarks highlighted the administration's commitment to unity, though then she turns around and calls Nazi, fascism. I mean, it just goes on and on. And give it up to Trump. He wasted no time in likening Biden's garbage remark to Hillary Clinton's 2016 characterization of Trump supporters as deplorables, which was a huge motivator for people to get out and vote for Trump. So as Harris and Trump continue to crisscross on and do rallies and interviews in major swing states, this is going to continue. Because even though there was a backlash, I mean, we're talking backlash after the comedian at Trump's rally called Puerto Rico an island of garbage. You have performers like Big Bunny denouncing it. You've had a major Latino musician now rebutting or refuting, retracting. That's the word. Sorry, retracting his endorsement based on this. And this really is a failure. Not of. I mean, seriously doubt Trump knows who Tony Hinchcliffe is and what kind of comedian is, but he is apparently a comedian that does roasting. He comes in hard, but the bottom line is that this shouldn't be the linchpin. It was a stupid mistake. It really was a gaffe on the committee and the event planners. But it has not had that significant of a backlash. Yes, we're seeing Jennifer Lopez crying out, AOC. I mean, AOC cries about everything. That is anybody conservative. And yes, you have some major stars maybe retracting their endorsement of Trump. But then you have the shadow senator from Puerto Rico, Zoraida Buxo, endorsing Donald Trump, showing up the very next day where all of this is happening. The very next day when the garbage comment comes out and you're supposedly, everybody's supposed to be up in arms. And again, I do find this offensive that they would do it. But apparently, Zoraida Buxo and many Puerto Ricans were thankful because this is an actual problem in Puerto Rico. And this wasn't intended to be a slight against the Puerto Rican people. And of course, it was very poor taste. And I still don't understand the thinking. But then again, being on the edge, being that distractor, who knows? Maybe it was part of the plan. But we do have Zoraida Buxo endorsing Donald Trump. And this is also to impose the endorsement that the largest newspaper in Puerto Rico provided to Kamala Harris. And speaking at the rally in Allentown, Pennsylvania, Buxo addressed the joke indirectly, emphasizing resilience and the shared values of Hispanic communities in the U.S. She criticized the Biden-Harris administration for its handling of issues like border security, economic policies, and law enforcement, asserting the current leadership was ineffective. And she urged voters to stay focused on the essential issues, advocating for Trump as the leader, capable of addressing them. And as one of Puerto Rico's non-voting shadow senators, Buxo represents the island's interests in Washington, but lacks a formal vote in Congress. She concluded her endorsement by rallying support among Latinos for Trump, framing him as the leader who would bring necessary changes to both the U.S. and Puerto Rico. And Harris, as to rebut this, stated that she pledged to do whatever she can for the people of Puerto Rico. But it does it really shines a major light on how are things happening in Puerto Rico. Remember, Puerto Rico is a separate nation. It is not a state of the United States. But this all coming, so calling the island of Puerto Rico a floating garbage heap, to then calling the supporters of Donald Trump garbage. Well, pull out your garbage bags, wear them with pride. Halloween is over. Let's just get to this election. We'll be right back after this quick commercial break.
If you turned 65 recently like me, it's important you find a Medicare Advantage plan that gives you the coverage you're looking for. But finding one can be difficult. The best thing I did, and I suggest you do the same, is call a licensed insurance agent and let them walk you through your Medicare Advantage plan options. There are so many benefits you have access to, so make the call now and let the representatives explain everything to you. Our licensed insurance agents can offer you a variety of Medicare Advantage plans. Plus, the call is free, the information is free, and there's no obligation to enroll. We're here to make it easy for you to select a Medicare Advantage plan that may work for your needs. Finding a Medicare Advantage plan can be easy if you do what I did. Make a quick call right now to learn more. Thank you. Call 800-749-7781. That's 800-749-7781. Call now.
Taking a trip in the next 12 months? Airlines are under tremendous pressure and they're practically giving away their unsold seats. Like every crisis, this one will end too. But right now is the best time to take advantage of giveaway ticket prices on their unsold seats. We're not allowed to publish these low fares online. The only way to get these rock bottom giveaway prices is to call. So phone low-cost airlines now for airline ticket prices you may never see again.
If you're on supplemental oxygen, heavy and awkward tanks can be a burden. Now you can leave home and leave the tanks behind with Inogen, portable oxygen therapy that moves with you.
With my Inogen, now I'm able to do the things that I've always loved. I just press the button here, and there's my oxygen.
Inogen systems are so small and light, you're free to leave the house without the hassles of an oxygen tank.
I could play golf again, I could go grocery shopping. I'm free again.
With the Inogen, I can handle my own oxygen. I can carry my own oxygen. I go anywhere with this. Look how small it is.
And right now, you can try an Inogen portable oxygen system for 30 days risk-free. Call us right now. If you qualify, we'll send you an Inogen system to use for 30 days risk-free. Your insurance may even cover your new Inogen system.
If you're on oxygen, you need to be using an Inogen.
Call 800-367-1753. That's 800-367-1753.
Are you nearly maxed out on your credit cards? It doesn't matter if you're using your credit cards for fun or to survive. At the end of the month, your statements come in, and you can either pay them or you can't. If you can't, late fees and interest rates get tacked on. And now you're struggling just to make the minimum payment due. Do you feel trapped? Am I talking to you? Good, because I personally researched some companies that can help you. They may be able to reduce your credit card balances by 50% and stop the late fees. You qualify. Please call our special debt hotline number right now for a complimentary free 5-minute consultation. Deal with your credit card problem now before it gets much worse and put more money back in your pocket. Trust me, I've been there too. Call right now.
Call 855-993-2096 right now. That's 855-993-2096.
Who will win the election? That is the big $1 million or $1 billion question. Kamala Harris versus Donald Trump. Polls 4 days out, and they're still neck and neck. With only these few days remaining until the 2024 election, the race between Kamala Harris and Donald Trump is remarkably close. Pollsters are cautiously indicating a slight advantage for Trump, but most forecasts label the election as a toss-up. And although Harris maintains a narrow lead in many polls, the final outcome is uncertain, especially in these key swing states such as Minnesota, Michigan, Nevada, New Mexico. Polling expert Nate Silver recently described the race as a 50-50 toss-up, suggesting that while Trump's path to an electoral college victory may be slightly more feasible, neither candidate has a clear edge. Silver emphasized that predictions should avoid over-reliance on intuition and recognize that the margin of error could favor either candidate, making the outcome unpredictable. Harris's most straightforward path to victory would involve winning the traditional Democratic strongholds of Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin. Trump, however, could secure his victory by winning Pennsylvania, Georgia, and North Carolina. So Pennsylvania is definitely the linchpin in both campaigns. As such, both candidates are concentrating their efforts on these battlegrounds in the final campaign stretch. Current national polls show Harris with a slight lead over Trump, hovering around 1.4 points, according to the 538. This reflects a minor dip from the previous week's 1.7-point lead, underscoring the race's tightening margin. 538's G. Elliott Morris noted that close polls do not guarantee a close result, as polling errors may still sway any of the swing states toward the current losing candidate. In other words, each poll seems to be looking at it's like Trump is up, Harris is up, Trump is up. It's 50-50. Trump's polling numbers have seen improvement recently, and his approval ratings have increased. And Real Clear Politics reported him leading Harris in national averages for the first time since her nomination. As of October 26, Trump holds a slight 0.4 percentage point advantage over Harris in Real Clear Politics aggregation, marking a pivotal shift in the race's dynamics. In swing states, Silver Bulletin shows Harris slightly ahead in Nevada, Michigan, and Wisconsin, while Trump leads in Pennsylvania, North Carolina, Georgia, and Arizona. Real Clear Politics further indicates Trump leads in all swing states except Michigan. With these critical states nearly tied, the election outcome will largely hinge on late-breaking shifts in voter sentiment and turnout in these decisive regions. Hence why President Biden's garbage comment, not a great time for this. Or Bill Clinton say, well, yeah, the economy was better under Trump, President Trump, but that doesn't mean you should vote for him. And we are amidst the early voting season. I mean, I know I took advantage of early voting. And one of the things that is clearly coming out is women are dominating the early voting. And this is making Donald Trump supporters nervous. With women casting early ballots in the 2024 election at higher rates than men, raising concern among Trump supporters. So in battleground states such as Pennsylvania, Michigan, Georgia, and North Carolina, NBC News data shows a gender gap of at least 10 points in early voting, with Pennsylvania having the largest disparity. Nationally, women make up 54% of the more than 58 million early votes cast, while men account for 44%. This trend has some Trump allies worried, especially in swing states, crucial to the election outcome. Political figures like Charlie Kirk and commentator Mike Cernovich have voiced their concerns on social media, suggesting that low male turnout could negatively impact Trump's chances because the polls have shown that majority of men are favoring Trump while majority of women favor Kamala Harris. However, even in those polls, it is not a huge percentage point. I mean, with the exception of the under 30-year-old vote, where that's where the biggest swing, I mean, you could see huge disparity, pro-Kamala poll, people who are pro-Kamala versus Trump. The reality is that it's only like 4 to 5 percentage point difference in national polls as who is favoring Trump or Kamala Harris. But it is significant because one of the weakest parts that Trump has had traditionally since 2020, and again in 2024, is reaching to that suburban college-educated woman who has a family. Though the economy is playing a huge factor in women's vote. It's not just about the sex of the parties. It's literally about the issues. So while early voting data does not reveal which candidate the women are supporting, Harris's emphasis on defending abortion rights has been a key part of her appeal to women across demographics, including disaffected Republican women. Many Democrats are optimistic about this turnout trend, especially with abortion rights amendments on several state ballots, which are expected to draw strong support from female voters. However, there is another big shift too, in that Trump's campaign has been actively encouraging Republicans to participate in early voting, and they have seen a significant uptick in Republicans' early voting. Now, again, we don't know. It's not a guarantee. Just because you have an R on your voter ID doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to vote for Trump, or if you have a D, you're going to vote for Kamala. But one thing is for certain, we've seen a significant percentage increase compared to 2020 and 2016 of Republicans doing absentee ballot and early voting. While increased female turnout is notable, the impact on each candidate's support remains uncertain as both campaigns continue pushing for strong turnout. And Kamala is still struggling with young Black men, and especially as Gen Z are skipping church. So Kamala Harris's campaign is facing challenges with reaching young Black male voters, a concern she inadvertently revealed during a recent event in Michigan. Speaking candidly with Governor Gretchen Whitmer, she acknowledged the need to engage male voters more effectively. Harris has enlisted prominent voices, including former President Obama, which that backfired in a way because he basically shamed Black men for not supporting a Black female. And that did not go over well. Actually, it went over like a ton of bricks. And historically, Black voters have been a reliable base for the Democratic Party, with churches often acting as essential hubs for engagement. However, Harris's campaign has had to contend with shifting dynamics, as younger Black voters, particularly millennials and Gen Z, are less connected to religious communities than their predecessors. Data from the 2040 Strategy Group indicates that over 45% of the Black electorate now comprises young generations who are significantly less likely to attend church, a trend mirrored across demographics. And a study by Pew Research shows that church attendance has declined notably among younger Black generations, where roughly 50% of baby boomers regularly attend the Black congregations. Only about 30% of millennials and Gen Z do the same. Dr. Tabitha Bonilla from the 2040 Strategy Group attributes this to broader generational changes, noting that younger people are generally less religious, affecting traditional democratic outreach methods. In recognizing these shifts, Harris's campaign has embraced alternative strategies, turning to less traditional methods to connect with younger Black voters. An interview with Charlemagne the God resonated well with this demographic, and her campaign has leveraged social media to produce trendier ads aimed at younger audiences. She's also been paying some major influencers on TikTok to show up at her rallies to try to influence. The one thing is for certain, though, and especially among the young Black voters, that demographic that has been polled has been showing a significant shift towards Trump. And though it's still not the majority of Black voters are still will vote Democrat, but we're seeing an even larger percentage going to Trump, which, if you recall, in 2020, Trump made history because the percentage of Black voters that voted for him and Latinos was greater than any Republican presidential candidate ever. And so that has to beg the question. Is it because the Democratic Party has basically taken an advantage and taken for granted the Black voter base, and they're kind of waking up going time out? Or is it because the identity politics that the Democrats have been solidly playing for at least 70s, since 1960s, 70s, 80s, has finally waned, in that it's no longer about what color of the skin? And maybe this is a good thing. It's not about the color of the skin. It's not about what nationality you are, or whether you're Latino, you're white, you're Black, you're yellow, you're pink, you're blue. It's about what candidate platform, which platform best suits you and your family. We're going to take a quick break, and then we'll jump right back into more campaign news. I'm good.
If you turned 65 recently like me, it's important you find a Medicare Advantage plan that gives you the coverage you're looking for. But finding one can be difficult. The best thing I did, and I suggest you do the same, is call a licensed insurance agent and let them walk you through your Medicare Advantage plan options. There are so many benefits you have access to, so make the call now and let the representatives explain everything to you. Our licensed insurance agents can offer you a variety of Medicare Advantage plans. Plus, the call is free, the information is free, and there's no obligation to enroll. We're here to make it easy for you to select a Medicare Advantage plan that may work for your needs. Finding a Medicare Advantage plan can be easy if you do what I did. Make a quick call right now to learn more. Thank you. Call 800-749-7781. That's 800-749-7781. Call now.
Are you on Medicaid and in need of bladder control and incontinence products? Then stay tuned for a free offer from Active Style. At Active Style, we understand your needs and offer convenient home delivery of incontinence products for children and adults. And they may be available at no cost to you if you're Medicaid eligible. Our products have a super absorbent core that locks away wetness to keep you dry.
If you're on Medicaid, call now for your free sample.
How would you like to go on a 5-star vacation for just $99? We're talking about the quality of a Westgate resort for $99. Not for one night, but for 3 fantastic nights at one of their luxurious destinations across the United States. And you'll even get a free $100 Visa gift card just for making a reservation. We've got some of the choicest destinations that you'll love in the United States that you can choose from for just $99 for a 3-night stay. Take your family, take a special loved one, but get away. Go on vacation with Westgate Resorts. Call now to make a reservation for just $99, and you get a free $100 Visa gift card. Call Westgate right now and book your vacation. Here's the number.
Call 877-930-3491. That's 877-930-3491. Again, 877-930-3491.
Election fraud claims and videos are already making it to the courts. Pennsylvania already become ground zero for election fraud claims. So, but Pennsylvania has emerged as a focal point for claims of election fraud, particularly as the 2024 presidential election approaches. Instances of alleged voter fraud have sparked outrage and confusion, including a situation involving nuns in Erie and a rallying cry from former President Donald Trump, who declared that cheating had already begun in Lancaster. These claims are gaining traction among Trump's supporters, raising alarms among local and state officials about the potential impact on voter confidence before ballots are even cast. Now, when they say before ballots are cast, ballots are being cast. Early voting has already been occurring, especially in Pennsylvania. It's been occurring for the past week or so. The state's Republican Secretary of the Commonwealth, Al Schmidt, has expressed concern over the proliferation of misleading information and videos surrounding the electoral process. In a recent press conference, he emphasized the danger of misinformation, stating that sharing false narratives could undermine the integrity of democracy. He urged voters to seek accurate information from reliable sources, highlighting that disinformation campaigns are expected to intensify in the lead up to the election. You cannot refute when you have people recording their own experiences. Now, let's just put this out there. It is not campaign election interference if you are walking in with a Trump shirt, a Harris shirt, a Biden shirt, and you're about to cast your ballot, because it has long been, I mean, we're talking decades, that you are not to be able to poll within 150 feet of the doors of the election. So yes, you have to cover those up. But with 19 electoral votes at stake, Pennsylvania is critical for both Trump and Kamala Harris's campaigns. And the state was pivotal in the 2020 election, where Biden narrowly defeated Trump by just over 1 percentage point. Unlike previous elections, where challenges to the electoral system were primarily voiced post-election day, there is a noticeable push to question the legitimacy of Pennsylvania's electoral processes well in advance of the voting day. On social media, allegations of systemic fraud are proliferating, with influencers such as Elon Musk amplifying unfounded claims. These narratives often misrepresent minor issues as significant problems, creating a false impression of electoral misconduct. Trump's declaration that Pennsylvania is engaging in large-scale cheating has further fueled these claims, prompting demands for law enforcement intervention in the election process. Foreign interference, we're talking, forget Russia, we're talking Iran is jumping into the game as well. So we have Russia, we have Iran, we have our foreign interference appearing to be a factor, as federal agencies have identified instances where hoaxes, such as viral videos showing ballot destruction, were orchestrated by Russian operatives. Actually, I think I may have just seen that one. Additionally, a newly established election integrity community on Musk platform is allowing users to share unverified claims of fraud, further contributing to a climate of suspicion surrounding this election. Despite these allegations, local officials, including Luzerne County's district attorney, have stated that investigations have found no evidence of fraudulent registrations. Many of the incidents that are being spread as evidence of fraudulent registrations have stemmed from administrative errors or miscommunication rather than actual misconduct. However, the rapid spread of misinformation on social media poses a significant challenge for all Secretary of States. But when you have this saying, oh, there's not issues, then you have a huge win for the RNC because they actually won a court victory. Excuse me. Justice for voters is what they're stating. No more silencing voters. Pardon me, declares chairman. So RNC chairman Rhoda McDaniel announced a significant legal victory on Tuesday in a lawsuit against Bucks County, Pennsylvania, over alleged voter access violations. The lawsuit, which contended that county officials unlawfully denied eligible voters the chance to cast their ballots, has been closely monitored amid ongoing discussions surrounding voting rights and election integrity. McDaniel characterized the court's ruling as a triumph for voters' rights, emphasizing that it affirms the commitment to ensuring every eligible voter can participate in the electoral process. So for those of you who do not know what happened was in Bucks County, Pennsylvania, there was a young woman was going to get in line to cast her early vote. Well, the police and the poll volunteers shut down the line at 1:45 p.m. The polls do not close at 5 p.m. The law is clear. It does not matter if the line is 10 miles out the door. So if you are in line by 5 p.m., you are allowed to commit to cast your vote. You are not to be turned away, but they locked it down at 1:45. So these voters that were trying to get in line were being turned away, were denied ballots without being offered the opportunity to cast provisional ballots, a requirement under both state and federal law. So following the court's decision, Bucks County is mandated to implement additional measures aimed at preventing similar voter access issues in the future. The ruling emphasized the need for clear and consistent protocols to guarantee that all eligible voters can successfully cast their votes, especially in pivotal battleground states like Pennsylvania. Legal experts noted that this ruling reflects the ongoing evolution of election law in key states, where discussions about voter access and election security are particularly contentious. According to election law professor Karen Mallory, the decision is crucial in establishing reliable protocols that ensure fair access to the voting process, especially in counties where electoral turnout can significantly influence the results of national elections. So while the RNC is celebrating this outcome, Bucks County officials expressed their disappointment and reiterated their commitment to conducting fair and secure elections. A spokesman for the county emphasized the importance of transparency in the voting process and affirmed that they would take necessary actions to comply with the court's ruling and enhance their elections. And basically, with this ruling, the court has extended that because they were cutting off people's access at 1:45 and denying the people the right to vote, which pursuant to federal and state law, they have extended the early voting through Friday, tomorrow. Oh, actually, excuse me, Friday today, November 1st, 5 p.m. So for those of you at Pennsylvania, get in line. So long as you are in line by 5 p.m., you have the right to vote. It's just like here in Florida. If you are in line by 7 p.m., election day, you have the right to vote. Does not matter how long the line is. In another election case, Supreme Court of the United States rules Virginia can purge 1,600 individuals from their voter rolls. So Virginia has passed a law in 2006, mind you, way before Youngkin, way before Trump, that they will verify and purge any non-citizens from their voter rolls. And so as they were conducting the review of the voter roll, they were purging 1,600 non-citizens. And so in this 6-3 decision, and yes, it was definitely along the conservative versus liberal justices, the court overturned a lower court's ruling that had sought to halt the removal of these registrations due to their proximity to the election. The dissent came from the court's 3 liberal justices. Virginia Governor Glenn Youngkin, who is a Republican, welcomed the Supreme Court's decision, declaring it a win for common sense and election fairness. He emphasized that maintaining clean voter rolls is an essential component of ensuring fair elections. Youngkin asserted that Virginia residents could participate in the election with confidence that the state's electoral processes are secure and free from politically motivated interference. The ruling also directs the Virginia Attorney General's office to initiate criminal investigations into individuals whose registrations were removed from the rolls. Critics of Youngkin's initiative contend that the purge could disenfranchise eligible voters. However, if you are not a citizen of the United States, you are not an eligible voter. Now, they are contending that, there were issues that there's no way of verifying whether these are citizens. Yeah, it's really simple. Show your birth certificate. Bring your naturalization certificate. I mean, there are ways. A driver's license does not ensure that you are a citizen. They can prove it. And upon proper proof, they can register. They have on-site registration. The American Civil Liberties Union of Virginia expressed outrage at the ruling, asserting that voters should have the power to choose their representatives. Again, I'm sorry, common sense. Non-citizens, that means people who are not citizens of the United States, do not have a right to vote. Period. If the question is whether among these 1,600, which, by the way, is a very, 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 very small percentage of registered voters of Virginia, but of these 1,600, if there is a question that they have to prove their eligibility to vote, which is prove citizenship, there are ways of doing so. So we're going to take a quick break, and then we're just going to continue down the election railway. Tune right back in.
Investing in real estate doesn't have to be a pipe dream. But how do you find, analyze, renovate, finance investment properties without getting ripped off? My name's Andrew Glisson. In 4 short years, me and my team built a portfolio of 200 rental properties in multiple cities as a hobby while working full-time. We took all of that experience and built a mentorship program called the Victory Strategy to unlock every step of investing in real estate. If that sounds like the opportunity you've been waiting for, look us up at thevictorystrategy.com.
Hi, I'm Vicki Wright Hamilton, and welcome to Ignite. Are you ready to fuel the fire within you and ignite your passion for leadership and business growth? This show isn't just about tips and tricks. It's about transforming your ambition into unstoppable momentum. We're here to spark the strategies that set your soul on fire and help you blaze a trail of success. Whether you're building a startup or leading a team, Ignite will empower you to turn your vision into a powerful reality. Fuel your fire, ignite your passion, and watch your success take flight. Tune in to Ignite right here on Now Media TV.
If you're on supplemental oxygen, heavy and awkward tank can be a burden. Now you can leave home and leave the tanks behind with Inogen, portable oxygen therapy that moves with you.
With my Inogen, now I'm able to do the things that I've always loved. I just press the button here, and there's my oxygen.
Inogen systems are so small and light, you're free to leave the house without the hassles of an oxygen tank.
I could play golf again. I could go grocery shopping. I'm free again.
With the Inogen, I can handle my own oxygen. I can carry my own oxygen. I go anywhere with this. Look how small it is.
And right now, you can try an Inogen portable oxygen system for 30 days risk-free. Call us right now. If you qualify, we'll send you an Inogen system to use for 30 days risk-free. Your insurance may even cover your new Inogen system.
If you're on oxygen, you need to be using an Inogen.
Call 800-367-1753. That's 800-367-1753.
Do you have a car sitting around you want to get rid of? Well, here's a great idea. Donate your car now to help local veterans in your area. Yes, just make one fast call to the Veteran Car Donation Program. Within a few days, we'll come and remove your car for free. You can donate any car in any condition. We'll use our vast network to sell it. The proceeds raised go to help local veterans and their families. And you get a tax deduction. And all you need to do is make this free call. Clean your yard up, get rid of an old car, and help the vets. We make it easy. Make this free call now. Book your fast and easy pickup. Call the Veteran Car Donation Program now.
And as all eyes are on this presidential election, it's not just within the United States. We're talking globally, because the big question is what the U.S. outcome means for Ukraine, Israel and Gaza, and other world conflicts. As the United States prepares for its presidential election, the outcomes will have significant implications for global conflicts, particularly in Ukraine and Gaza. President Joe Biden's surprise visit to Kyiv in February of 2023 exemplified America's commitment to supporting Ukraine amid ongoing war threats. The election presents a stark choice between Vice President Kamala Harris, who has echoed Biden's resolve not to retreat from global challenges, and Donald Trump, who emphasizes an Americanism, non-globalism approach. The world is now watching to see how U.S. leadership will shape international dynamics, particularly given rising skepticism about America's influence on the world stage. Military analysts, including former NATO Deputy Secretary General Rose Gottemoeller, expressed concern over Trump's potential return to power, citing his past threats to withdraw from NATO and pressure other member countries regarding military spending, which during Trump's first administration, he was effective, because all of a sudden you had Germany and the other European countries stepping up on their commitment to fund NATO, which has been sharply on the shoulders of the U.S. Even Connie Rice, former Secretary of State, stated that one advice she would give to Trump is stay in NATO, just make them all pay up 2% more. Increase that for 2% more, because it should be it's supposed to be a joint effort. Conversely, if Harris retains the presidency, experts predict she will support NATO and the European collaboration while still applying pressure on Europe to meet defense spending targets. Though Harris, and especially as seen under Biden, and you could even go back to the Obama administration, this progressive movement is definitely a more globalist type of effort. So the real question is, under Harris, if Harris were to win, would we still have individualism, or would she be just placating to the globalist nations or that realm? The next president will also face the challenge of navigating a world rife with conflict. You have Comfort Ero, president of the International Crisis Group, underscores that while the U.S. remains a crucial player in international peace and security, its ability to mediate effectively has diminished. The increasing complexity of conflicts like those in Ukraine and Sudan reflects a shifting global landscape where multiple powers vie for influence. Arrow highlights the perceived inconsistency in U.S. foreign policy, noting that global actors criticize the differential treatment of Russia's action in Ukraine compared to Israel's in Gaza, which could further erode America's moral standing on the world stage, which they have a point. Israel is being slammed for the war against Hamas. But yet Ukraine was invaded by Russia, and we're supporting Ukraine's right to defend herself and to push back Russia and to free them of that. But so it's that complete hypocrisy of this administration that you have this downplaying on this. It's really defiant in the way that they attack Israel when Israel was the one who was attacked on October 7th. And Bill Clinton even stated that Israel has every right to defend herself, that this is not a war of the Palestinian people. This is a war against Hamas. And really what we should be doing is the best method of freeing Gaza is freeing Gaza from the chokehold that Hamas has over her and her people. Harris's foreign policy would likely continue Biden's support for Ukraine while emphasizing the need for humanitarian considerations in the Middle East. She's also playing that tightrope game in that she's trying to make sure and shore up the Jewish contingency, the Democratic Party, showing her support for Israel and her support that they have every right to defend themselves, which, remember, Israel's the one who's getting missile attacks constantly from both Lebanon, from Hezbollah, and still from Hamas and Yemen. But also she's trying to appease the Islamic populations, especially in Michigan, that are the uncommitteds because they are basically pro-Palestinian in this respect. On economic fronts, Trump proposes tariffs on Chinese imports, signaling a significant shift that could disrupt global trade relations. While he positions himself as a strong negotiator with China, the potential fallout from such tariffs could have devastating effects on the global economy. Conversely, Harris's approach would likely aim for stability and predictability in U.S.-China relations, fostering gradual developments rather than abrupt confrontation. Though, if we have seen anything, one thing is that the Biden administration has maintained the tariffs that were put in place by the Trump administration because it has been a positive. So in summary, the U.S. election outcome will resonate across various global conflicts and will have outreaching ripple effects throughout the world. And speaking of campaign approaches, Harris doesn't campaign on her gender. So is that a sign of progress for the Democratic Party that has been so solidly doing identity politics? Kamala Harris's approach to her presidential campaign marks a departure from a previous female candidate, notably Hillary Clinton, who emphasized gender and identity as central themes. Clinton's 2016 nomination was highlighted by a dramatic video montage showcasing male predecessors, symbolizing the breaking of the glass ceiling. And in contrast, Harris has chosen to minimize discussions of her gender and racial identity, focusing instead on a message aimed at all Americans. This shift raises questions about whether such a strategy signals progress in how society perceives women of color in leadership roles. Harris's decision to downplay identity politics may stem from the divisive nature of these discussions in recent electoral cycles. The backlash against progressive politics has created a challenging environment for candidates who heavily emphasize identity. Analysts suggest that Harris's historic candidacy has already become a normalized aspect of the political landscape, reducing the need to highlight her race and gender actively. Teresa Unben, a public opinion researcher, notes that most voters are more interested in policies and the implication of Harris's leadership than in her identity as a woman of color. So this might be seen as a good shifting away. But one thing's for sure, everybody still has this perception that women should be voting for her because she is a woman. We could be potentially voting for our first female president. True, if she is elected, it will be historic. However, just because she's a woman, just because she is a biracial Black Indian individual is not the reason to vote for her. The reason to vote for any candidate is based on their policies and what they do. And another thing, campaigning on, talking about the campaign, Harris's campaign is all out. I am not Trump. We hate Trump. Let's diss Trump. I mean, if Trump weren't the candidate, I seriously question whether Harris would even be in the position she is now, where Biden was ousted to place her because they saw that Biden was going to lose. And speaking of women that were running, Nikki Haley has made her peace with Donald Trump, but not all of her supporters have, which is a huge impediment for Trump to overcome. Nikki Haley has publicly expressed her intention to support Donald Trump in this upcoming election, despite their contentious rivalry during the Republican primary. As the last major opponent to challenge Trump, Haley's call for party unity is met with skepticism from some of her supporters, particularly those in suburban areas, also known as white suburban mothers, soccer moms, where elections often hinge on the voters of moderate Republicans and independents. Many of these voters are hesitant to fully embrace Trump, having shifted their support away from him in the past. Now, that is something that was clearly evident while she was still running in the primary against Trump. Nikki had an ability to reach out to the independent voters. She had the never Trumpers and the disenfranchised moderate Republicans. She had them in her back pocket. She was able to successfully really just connect with them. And this is a position that the Trump campaign needs help in, because the bottom line is that they need to invoke what could potentially get female voters, the soccer moms, the suburban moms, the college educated, the independents, to vote for Trump. And though Haley has offered, Trump's campaign has yet to utilize her, even though there have been voiced by the public that Nikki Haley would be seen as a positive out on the campaign. And so we're going to be watching whether her 16% of that primary vote that has been staunchly behind Nikki Haley will shift into line and vote for Trump, not as the individual, not an endorsement of the individual, but to maintain of his policy, or will they just be uncommitted, or will they go to Harris? Now, we're going to see Haley on the campaign path, but not for Donald Trump, but for other congressional and senatorial candidates that are Republicans that she is reaching out. So one of this is enjoy this weekend, enjoy the happy election day on November the 5th. This is a privilege. We, citizens of the United States, have a privilege and an honor to cast our ballots. And whether you vote for Trump, whether you vote for Haley, whether you vote for Mickey Mouse or whomever else, Harris, not Haley. Vote your conscience, vote for what is best and what you feel best. Enjoy this weekend. Happy election day. And I look forward to seeing you guys all on the flip side when we talk about the aftermath of this election. I am Alina Gonzalez-Dockery, bidding you all a good night.
This has been a Now Media Networks feature presentation. All rights reserved.
Investing in real estate doesn't have to be a pipe dream. But how do you find, analyze, renovate, finance investment properties without getting ripped off. My name's Andrew Glisson. In 4 short years, me and my team built a portfolio of 200 rental properties in multiple cities as a hobby while working full-time. We took all of that experience and built a mentorship program called the Victory Strategy to unlock every step of investing in real estate. If that sounds like the opportunity you've been waiting for, look us up at thevictorystrategy.com.
If you're on supplemental oxygen, heavy and awkward tanks can be a burden. Now you can leave home and leave the tanks behind with Inogen, portable oxygen therapy that moves with you.
With my Inogen, now I'm able to do the things that I've always loved. I just press the button here, and there's my oxygen.
Inogen systems are so small and light, you're free to leave the house without the hassles of an oxygen tank.
I could play golf again. I could go grocery shopping. I'm free again.
With the Inogen, I can handle my own oxygen. I can carry my own oxygen. I go anywhere with this. Look how small it is.
And right now, you can try an Inogen portable oxygen system for 30 days risk-free. Call us right now. If you qualify, we'll send you an Inogen system to use for 30 days risk-free. Your insurance may even cover your new Inogen system.
If you're on oxygen, you need to be using an Inogen.
Call 800-367-1753. That's 800-367-1753.